The hell's going on? My name's Chris. Welcome to the channel. Today is the first of many videos, and today we're going to be talking about my bachelor party. My friends got me this Alien Trilogy awesome little collector's pack of VHSs, and that's very much aligned with my sensibilities. As you can see, I have a lot of like nerd stuff here, a lot of nerd vintage stuff. And we're basically going to be talking about that and how these are the only VHSs I currently have in my collection right now. I will say I have a shit ton of DVDs, and we'll go through that in a second. I think I can just pop you off this tripod. But before we jump into that, the quick housekeeping of what's going on here is I've been doing YouTube at this point for like 2 years on different combined channels and stuff like that, and I'm trying to streamline the process into a process that I enjoy, and that's just easy, quick pickup, talk about stuff that I'm passionate about. There's so many like little video ideas that I've had since I didn't just get shorter. I'm standing on a fucking standing treadmill right now. But anyways, the long and short of it is, you get 10,000 hours in any given topic to develop a mastery of it, and this wouldn't be hour one, but in this video sure as shit won't be an hour. But just wanted to kind of talk about some stuff, and today is a pretty common type of thing in my brain. But I'm basically in real time. The goal is to just shoot this on my camera that has pretty good audio pickup. I don't have to sync audio or plug in a mic, and I guess I'll try it right now. I finally got you on a tripod, which is very exciting. So you're right here. All of a sudden, see, I get taller because that side of the office is a mess, but bam, I have a quick release thing, and I can show you, the craziness that is my current setup. As I said, I recently got married, so I had to kind of shove all my nerd shit in the corner. So I have a Sega Genesis Classic on top of a random family photo and some random shit from our wedding reception. But anyways, so yeah, this is my little nerd setup. And speaking of, movies are very important to me, and physical media is very important to me. I got my vinyl records here. I have still have some player's guides that I've never once referred to help me beat a game, but it's cool to have some old video game magazines and stuff like that, and a bunch of wrestling DVDs here. We have like all the superstar specific ones, and then some of the anthology ones of like the best of Raw, the best of SummerSlam. We have the WrestleMania stuff and the DVDs. And then we have some of the miscellaneous stuff I got in different lots, and some UFC DVDs. I have like the best 100 fights from UFC as of like 2012 or some shit. So, and then we have a bunch of DVDs in here. So I actually use this channel. This is like my pull list of movies I have to actually fucking watch because I haven't seen them either in years or I just haven't seen them yet. And then I have a bunch of stuff in here that is from my childhood that I've watched a million times. And then I got some camera equipment and a projector and all this random shit. So I'm hoping that this channel gives me an excuse to talk about. I love how the first thing I go to is Hotel Rwanda starring Don Cheadle. I mean, that's a great example though, because it's maybe pulling together. The reason I even own that in the Hurt Locker is because my local Best Buy was going out of business when I was a kid, and my brother and I went through and got like a bunch of movies that were, a couple bucks each, like $1.99 to $3.99 each, as they were going out of business. And they're these shitty gummy little cases, but I have Hotel Rwanda. Pat said it was apparently really good. He had heard really good things. He hadn't watched it himself, and that's where why I own a lot of the random shit in the corners of my collection, because Alan Wake, it took me a good 12 years to play, probably, assuming that mathematically checks out, because we had heard it was good, but I never actually played it. But don't worry, I've played Alan Wake since then. But anyways, Hotel Rwanda. Video 2 will be the Hotel Rwanda watch party. But in all seriousness, it's as simple as like, even on like my main channel that I record a lot on, it's like, all right, what do I want my review structure to be? I kind of script everything out, which I personally hate doing. I hate scripting a video because it's like I like turning on the camera and just like the good thing about all this is that I'm getting better at kind of delivering a point confidently. Now, as you may notice, I have ADHD, so staying on task isn't always my strong suit, but just trust me on this, I wouldn't have gotten even close to covering all these topics that I just did as gracefully as I have, or lack thereof, just a few months ago. So it's certainly working, and I'm certainly enjoying it. And that's kind of what's most important, because I'm going to be watching this video 3 to 5 times over the course of my life, and maybe you've watched 6 seconds of it, according to Google Analytics. Anyways, the star of the day. Now let me just not rewind as much as I just did with the Hotel Rwanda thing. I have the hubby sweater on, if it even picks up right now. Yes. I have the wedding ring. I have the hat from my honeymoon in Kauai, and there's a little chicken there, a little rooster. Don't worry, I do have hair. It's just really fucked up today because it's rainy and gloomy out. All right. Okay, so we have established that I'm married. We've established that part of my nerd setup took a hit because, we're moving stuff around because of said wedding. Now we go back to, I want to say June. June sounds about right. Is when I had my bachelor party, and all I wanted to do was like chill, like a 2-night weekend, like a Friday and Saturday. Everybody go home Sunday. Don't make me go out to brunch on the way home. Let's just like get home and throw up in the bathtub or whatever you do when you're hungover. I'm just speaking from experience here. Now, it was a very chill, low-key bachelor party, thankfully. Didn't get in any trouble. Literally barely left the premises, which was great. We stayed in Vermont. And two of my favorite things, one of them is staying home, and the second of which is whenever we would party back in college, I always loved the pregame more than the actual party. The actual party was usually lame. You're hanging out with people that don't know you, you don't know them, you're trying to look cool to them, or they don't give a shit about you, but that's just because they're trying to be cool. Anyways, I always loved the pregame. You're surrounded with people you like. You're usually doing dumb shit, like we would place bets in shot form. We would put 4 computers of Super Smash Brothers on the TV, and you'd pick your guy. Like, I pick Mario, you pick Olimar. Every time Mario dies, I have to take a shot. And obviously, hilarity would ensue. It's like horse betting, but with your body and with Super Smash Brothers. Pause. And so with that in mind, this Saturday morning, Friday night, we didn't really drink that much, but this Saturday, we were all kind of just chilling. Some people had some stuff to get done. Everybody had to call their significant other at one point or another, myself included. And during that time, and for whatever reason, it had been on top of mind, Alien versus Predator, like how dumb of a movie it is. It really is just like banging 2 action figures together. There's not as much plot there as there is in the original Alien or the original Predator, from what I've seen of it. I'm a little more foggy on that series, looking to especially after that weekend, looking to really brush up on the good parts of the both series instead of just the more campy ones that I've seen. Anyways, that's like a big part of my movie taste. Like, I love Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, I can watch that a million times, whereas The Fast and the Furious being a lot more melodramatic. The 4th one, not the first one. No, the 4th one is Fast and Furious. The Fast and the Furious is a bit more campy. I enjoy it thoroughly. And yeah, I just can't be watching There Will Be Blood or Schindler's List on like a Tuesday afternoon on TBS. But I can watch Aliens vs. Predator or Freddy vs. Jason, like the more ridiculous crossover type things. So there happened to be on TV that Saturday morning, when we're all like slightly hungover or just like a little tired or just like trying to get our act together, being a little lazy, there was a marathon of Alien vs. Predator, which I have seen, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which I had never seen. I just saw like the really disturbing trailer on TV growing up in between like Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. And I knew it was controversial, but that movie was goddamn terrible. And then I think after that was Prometheus, which I watched stoned in college. And after that was probably Alien Covenant, which I really enjoyed, but apparently sucked. All that's to say, it was a pivotal part. It was like, to me, like nobody really like, I think one of my buddies maybe put it on, or I put it on, but it was just like a cool thing for me to just get to hang out and make fun of a bad movie with my friends. I can never, me being 30 and living in Boston, which I'll refer to as the city, just because my friends live in the suburbs that we grew up in, or the general area, which is an hour away from the city. Once again, not a big deal, but in Massachusetts, it's sure as hell, like getting in and out in a car and driving an hour somewhere, it's got to be a pretty big deal. sometimes. Like to me, it's not as big of a deal, but you start getting less automatic yeses for parties or for Super Bowl viewing parties, or like, do you want to watch the Celtics or watch a movie? Like nobody wants to like watch a movie these days. Apparently, it's like maybe once a year we watch Saltburn in between Christmas and New Year's with my wife. Yes, with my wife Sarah's like old roommates. Like they're really good friends of ours, but that's just the context of how we used to watch movies with them all the time, and we all four of us kind of lived together when I was over at her apartment all the time before we moved in together. So like movie nights are very important in our friendship, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we watch one movie every like 18 months or so, which is not a big deal. Everybody's busy. So I'm a big movie person, as you saw, love stupid movies, and it was a very special time for me. We ended up playing this game before everybody showed up. It's called The Mind, and it's just one of those like card games that, it is. Let's just say it's similar. This game isn't similar, but it's a similar vibe to playing like Crazy Eights or Go Fish or something to that effect. But it's like you're all playing together. That's all you need to know. It's like it was a fun card game, and the fact that they got it from me was really cool. It was a fun bonding moment, but this was a complete surprise. I think this kind of ties the bow on everything. Not only is it a really nice, like premium feeling, you got to take my word for it. It just feels really nice. I don't know what the material would be, but a lot of like hardcover books have that same like almost woven cardboard, cloth covered whatever material. And then, it's kind of ripping off at the corners here, but the alien egg, the iconic, I think it's on the cover of one. It's a sticker, which, but at least that means the whole thing isn't screen printed. So it looks a little bit 3D. And anyway, so it's Alien Trilogy 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, there are a lot more aliens that came after this. But yeah, it's so sick. It's so clean, the cover. Oh my God, I love how clean. And then you just have like the Fox Video, green, blue, and yellow. It's stunning. The stereo, the hi-fi stereo closed caption, and just everything is so cool. And I checked to see, I didn't know if this was like a board game or something, but no, it truly is like the VHSs for the first 3 Alien movies, which is like very well received. I love both the first and the second. And then 3, I know it's more controversial. And my whole thing was like, great, this will give me a good excuse to watch Alien 3, Alien Cubed, however you want to say it. Like that's just one of my fun running gags. But yeah, they all look awesome. Now, I think the tentative title of this video is "My Friends Got Me the Alien Trilogy." It would probably be shorter than this, but like I'm not going for SEO here. It's very niche. My friends got me the Alien Trilogy on VHS, and it's sending me into a spiral. Now, the reason I say that is, oh my God. So where do we begin? So it's like, oh, this beautiful gift. And the reason I like it so much is because it reminds me, there's so many things there. It reminds me of like a really good time, like an awesome weekend. Obviously very special to me, it being my bachelor party and my friends showing up for me and driving out to Vermont, which, I say you get in an hour in a car. Why can't I say this? Get in a car for an hour plus, it better be for something good. Well, you get in a car to go from like middle of Massachusetts to like Vermont for like 2.5, like almost 3 hours if you're in traffic. It was cool that the guys did that, but also like we got a really nice house out of it. It was beautiful space, and it's a lot more affordable than by Boston. That would get you, a syringe riddled like fucking I forget what they're called. A back alley is what I was trying to say. Really nailed that there. But anyways, very special, but also like, the vinyl collection. My old roommate who lived with me, Brian, when I first met Sarah, like he thought my take on having vinyl records was kind of fucking stupid because he's very practical. He's like, so you're using a record which is less high quality than streaming, and then you connect that because, he's missing the point, but you connect that to your Bluetooth headphones. Like, why not just use your Bluetooth headphones on your phone, and then you don't have to, and he was just like, thought it was ridiculous. But it's the same thing. He's like, well, why would you own a car in the city when you can just take public transit? It's like, there are reasons. And in this case, I was using Bluetooth headphones, so I wasn't bothering him, so I wasn't just blasting whatever, like, sad girl pop fucking Olivia Rodrigo album I wanted to listen to that particular day. For a multitude of reasons, I was shielding him from that. A, he probably didn't need to know that about me. And B, maybe he didn't want to listen to a breakup album. I wasn't even getting broken up with. I just like her music. So the analog nature of it is very cool to me, just being very mindful as someone with ADHD and can get choice paralysis, analysis paralysis, whatever you want to call it. Scrolling through Netflix is a classic version of this, where you're going through Netflix, the now playing, Jesus Christ, now playing the newly added, the top 10 in the country. You're just scrolling these things and you don't pick anything. And I love being able to do that with a record, with a wrestling DVD, and just have that be the vibe for the day. It's not just like, oh, this is what I want to watch or what I want to have on. It's like, if I'm working here and I want to put something on, it's like, it's setting the tone for the day. And if I'm putting an Olivia Rodrigo album on, obviously I can listen to her on the radio if I so desire, but it's like, that's setting the vibe. Or like the Florence and the Machine album is like setting a tone for when I'm like cleaning the house or whatever. And same thing with like Alien through Alien Cube, is that like the crackle of the VHS, like these would be, because they're lo-fi feature themed movies, and their set design, their art, their set design is easy, like their prop design, stuff like that. The way that they portray the future is like very lo-fi tech and stuff like that in even at the time, or I guess like in recent modern times. You know what I'm trying to say, all right? They use fucking modern retro bullshit. So theoretically spending, ideally if there's no cost attached, getting an HDMI out VCR, not a horrible idea. But it's like, And then also I've been on YouTube, on a lot of retro YouTube, where, there are guys with their CRTs that they got from like family members or garage sales, and you get that like turn on sound that I miss very much. But unfortunately, right before I moved out of my parents' house, we threw out, and I don't know if I was involved in this or not, but we threw out like fucking 5 CRT TVs that I'm devastated. Even just one that's like, 11, 13 inches, I don't even know what it would have been. Like, would have been so cool to have, and to have all of them be gone, like in the trash, not even to somebody who I can get back from, because, we give it to somebody for free, or for, we wouldn't have sold it to anybody for $10. We would just give it to them for free. But if they don't want it anymore, it's collecting dust in their basement. I think a lot of my relatives would have moved on from that type of heavy equipment and stuff like that. But it's a bummer. And I literally had like not one but 2 CRTs that had a VCR built in, and I'm sure those are like lesser quality, and obviously the audio is probably ass, but it would have been really cool to have like a nice like vibe setter in the office area. So now I'm opening up Mercari. I opened it up earlier just to log in, but let's just see what... I'll look up Amazon real quick just to see if they even have... I know it exists, but VCR HDMI. HDMI to VCR is not what I'm asking for. But for better or for worse, you were saved by my wife Sarah calling me, because it kind of got me to get to the point. So she called me with like there was an accident. Not her. There was some road stuff that she just needed navigating. But the good thing is, while she was recalibrating her GPS and stuff, I was able to look. Amazon is surprisingly like super not helpful. VCR or VHS HDMI output. I don't know if it just doesn't exist, but essentially, no. The best we got is a Sony VHS DVD combo player renewed. It looks like the same one I had growing up for $250 prime shipping. No. And then $340, $219. Anyways, these are like old, they're just like a DVD VHS combo. I don't need that. I have multiple DVD players, like literal DVD players. I have my portable DVD player. That'll be its own video on like my goings on with that. Anyways, so then I looked at Mercari, and there was like one option that was like $100. That was a small like square screen, 4x3 screen TV with a VCR on the bottom of it. Anyways, Jesus Christ, yeah, this took such a loop. My mom's texting me about random stuff. Long story short, I'm not going to get another TV anytime soon, because I have not one but 2 unused TVs down here. I'm only gonna, oh my god. I'm only going to show you one for a multitude of reasons. One, I guess this is 16 by 9, but since it's chunkier, it looks kind of like a closer to a 4 by 3 thing. And it has a headphone jack, so that's helpful. So anyways, yeah, this is I would set this up really anywhere and just kind of have like just get a little side table. Honestly, even just like a folding table for now. And set that up. I think I got that from, my mom works at a children's pediatrician's office, and I got that for free. And then there's a much thinner one that I would use for something like the Sega Genesis Classic or something like that. But anyways, so that's what I would plug into for now. I'm really trying to not spend any money. Like I said, like I have this old fucking, what's it called, tripod that you're sitting on right now that's I got for $11 probably 6 years ago. So I'm trying to not spend more money on useless shit. I have so many adapters and like random stuff. Obviously I have computer monitors like from Sarah, and then I have like TVs stacking up over here that I'm not using, and I barely use this one some weeks. So, but while I was looking at Mercari, you know, VCR movie lot of 35 for $27, you get this big stack, and it's like, oh, that could be a lot of trash. No, it's some heavy hitters and the exact movies I would want to have going on VHS. So we have Home Alone 1 through 3, and the good thing is it's kind of like this, where Home Alone 1 is great, Home Alone 2 is masterclass, and you can kind of, everybody has their favorite, I'm sure, of the two of those, and same with Alien. Now, Home Alone 3 is completely different, and, you know, I don't know, I guess we'll see how good Alien 3 is. But, you know, at least there's that. I can put on like a bad movie I'm not going to care about. This is actually way better than I thought. The only problem is I have at least 2 of these in my parents' basement, and one of them I think is still shrink wrapped. But we have Wild Wild West, which I definitely don't own. I've never owned in any capacity, but it was like a big one growing up for me and my brother. We had the Burger King toys. Then you have Godzilla, either 98 or 2000. Men in Black, Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen, I didn't know that. Maverick with Mel Gibson, I didn't know that. Jurassic Park 3, we definitely have on VHS. The Patriot, we do not. Joe Dirt, we do not. I've never actually seen Joe Dirt not on cable television. X-Men, we do have. The Matrix, I would love to have on VHS, honestly. We have it on DVD. Double Take, I can't even see who. Oh, Eddie Griffin or Orlando Jones. Robin Hood, Robin Hood with Kevin Costner behind enemy lines. Anyways, let me run through these. Independence Day, I think we have on VHS, it doesn't matter. Uncommon Valor, I don't know what that is. Batman and Robin, prime vibes-based VHS thing. Saturday Night Live, the best of Steve Martin. Honestly, that's kind of cool. It's what one of my favorite YouTube channels, Gaming Off the Grid, they do a lot of stuff like that in their game room. A lot of wrestling stuff like me, but like that's just cool to have and cool to have in VHS format. Honestly, I love Saturday Night Live, but it's a whole thing. Anyways, The Mummy Returns. We have either The Mummy or The Mummy Returns on VHS. I don't remember which. The Mask of Zorro, we definitely don't have on VHS. Also, my grandfather was a big Zorro guy, so it's very cool to me. National Lampoon's Vacation, cool to have. Three Stooges Collection, Volume 3 or 111, I can't tell which. True Lies, all right, whatever. Lost in Space, big one growing up that we mostly just see on TV. But we saw in theaters, I believe. Also had some toys attached to that. Bloodwork, I don't know. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Special Sonic Search and Smash Squad, Jesus. So it's just cool to have like Saturday morning cartoon vibes. And then Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen and Alan Rickman. Love that movie. Very much growing up vibes. Oh, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. But Star Wars 1, Phantom Menace. Once again, I don't remember for sure if I had that or my cousin had it, but either way, great to have. Air Force 1 with Harrison Ford, hell yeah. Austin Powers, absolutely. I think it's International Man of Mystery, so which I think is probably I don't know if it's like Gold Member I watched the most, but I think the first one was probably the best. Ghost in Darkness, I don't know. And then Batman Returns with Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer. Absolutely, I think I have to buy this. What's the shipping? What it is shown is what it ships. I don't know what they just said. Oh, $13 shipping. Damn. So $27 for like 30 movies, and I would probably keep all of them if we're being honest. I'm not gonna lie to myself and say that I would like donate any of them, but 27 plus, we'll say 15, 6, 7, 16 with tax. Then it's 43. That's exactly like if it was, oh, that's so annoying. That's the exact price that, like, if it was 38, I'd be having a hard time. 36, I could talk myself into. 34, I could round that down on my brain to be like 30, 32, 29, 28. If this was, oh my God, if this was, yeah, 32 or under, I would have already bought it. Because then it's like, all right, where do I store all this stuff? But it would be cool to have, and I think if I, so that brings me back to the original point is, you know, well, first of all, do I need a fucking VHS? I have this entire DVD collection that at the moment I'm not watching, and it's taking up a lot of space. And the problem is, like, I inherited a bunch of DVDs from my brother as well, that he got rid of all the cases and he has the discs. So I have this big binder over there that he actually gave it to me my wedding weekend, full of DVDs that he got from either his travels that he was getting rid of, or his wife's family was getting rid of like 8 to 12 to actually they might have had 20 binders of DVDs. It's just like it's a thing apparently in our entire family. Big DVD family. And it's like, I love having it for the special features, for like the menu design, like stuff like that. But I understand it's impractical. I understand all this stuff behind me whenever we next move is going to be a huge pain in the ass. But in the meantime, I'm looking at this shot and it's very cool to me personally. Like, I look at this and I would want to spend time here, more time than I actually have to spend these days. So, and I already have, the thing is, I don't have to worry about the HDMI output because I already have at least, you know, perks of being a fucking idiot. I have at least 1 to 2 AV to HDMI converters. So if I wanted to plug in the VHS or the VCR into this Insignia, it's an Insignia? I thought it was a nicer, all right, this Insignia TV. I know it wasn't an LG, but Jesus. So yeah, 43 for all of these movies. And then a lot of like all of these VHSs essentially are like between 60 and 90 bucks. So like that kind of sucks. That's more than I would have liked. I'm sure if I go on Facebook Marketplace, I can find one. Oh, I searched TV with VCR on this one. Let me just search. All right, I think I already have, I'll find it. VCR. I'll just search that. And yeah, but like the ones that are 30 bucks, Sony VCR, no remote. That's kind of charming in a way, but there's also no cords, which you hate to see. 35, 55. So yeah, it's still like 50 and stuff like that. 90, 40, 60. So the problem is, I'm thinking that there's 2 issues here. I'm thinking my family has at least one in the basement. So I think the real answer here is next time I'm home, I grab a VCR from my parents' basement, hopefully, and call it a day. It should have the remote. I just have to like replace the batteries, worst case scenario, scrub the contacts a little bit to get the rust off. And the cool thing is, unless they threw it out, which I'd be heartbroken, they did have, and this is super niche, but they had a standalone VHS rewinder, which I think is so cool. I had so much fun with. I definitely probably broke as a child. But my mom used to record her soap opera shows a lot, on like re-recordable tapes, and she would, I don't know how it saves you much time. I guess when you're putting a movie away and you're putting a new one in, then you can, you know, rewind it off to the side. I don't even know if it's a commercial grade thing or a consumer grade thing, but it was so cool. It was like a small little like rounded bubble thing. Like it was awesome, and I think that would be very fun to have in the collection as well, assuming it still exists and didn't get thrown out. I wouldn't buy one, but it'd be cool to have. So I think that's ultimately the answer. I have everything I need to not spend any money. And although I might walk away with that lot and that would be its own video, and I would just find a space for a collection, for collecting the VHSs that I have in my parents' basement, and then obviously this would be a centerpiece, and then maybe instead of getting this lot, which is really tough to walk away from because there are so many heavy hitters there is a Savers that's like 20 something minutes from me, especially like once I leave Duncan's daycare. It's like pretty close by, but the problem is there was like 3 movies there last time. One of them I think was X-Men. The other was like a 2 VHS copy of some Harrison Ford movie that I hadn't seen, and then like something else, like nothing too crazy, like nothing I would even watch, like put on Netflix on the background. So not too sure, but like I can find not really space here. Obviously I have some like knickknacks here, and I could move I really should be moving that gaming magazine collection elsewhere, but like, it's messy over here, so apologies. But like, this DVD rack really didn't pan out, but it might be, the VHSs might be thick enough that they wouldn't get lost in this thing. So right now it's just holding my still sealed collection of Starlink Battle for Atlas Star Fox Edition. So that'll be its own video one day as well. And that's the thing. It's not going to be like a start to finish review of, is Star Fox worth it in 2025? Or sorry, Star Fox. Is Starlink worth it in 2025? Like none of that. None of like me having to make it a video essay by bringing in empirical data about how Toys to Life died year over year and stuff like that. No sales figures. Just like me opening this shit for the first time and what that looks like. Not even like my polished experiences with it. Just like getting to talk about, like who's making Hotel Rwanda videos at this point in my space. Maybe film critics are every couple years, but that's what I'm saying. It's like who's panicking about whether or not they should buy like a Wild Wild West and Batman and Robin Law on Mercari. Like this is the type of content I like watching personally, like random stuff like this, random pickups from folks that it's not their full-time job to be flippers or to be, no disrespect to those channels, but it's just like, all right, well, if it's your job, that's just not reliable to me. But if you're coming after your 9 to 5 and you're like, oh, I got this great deal on Mercari, they don't know how much value they have. Or it's just like somebody with a great collection is like parting with something that aligns like 92% with their taste. I think that's so cool. And then it's really like, am I gonna, instead of me either just buying it or pressing that down, it's like, all right, well, where would I keep them? Like, can I make a compromise? If I don't get a new VCR, can I get the movies? As long as I have somewhere to put them. So these are all the things, but I'm hoping that this video gives me the kick in the ass to actually pull the trigger on the VCR in my parents' basement and bring it over here, set it up, have a good setup for it ready instead of just grabbing it and figuring out what I'll do when it gets here. Things like that. And that opens up a whole nother can of worms. It's like I have an Xbox One stack here of games that I'll probably never really play because I've kind of moved on to try consolidating all my like AAA stuff into PlayStation and then just Nintendo stuff be first party, blah, 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 blah. But how, I think I made a video on my main channel about that. It's like, all right, DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, like, am I going to sell that to GameStop for literally 6 cents and then pay $15, maybe even $20 if something weird happens? And to buy that game on PS4, like, I don't think I'm going to do that. So, but I can't just like keep an entire shelf of games that I'm never going to really touch if I've either A, already beaten them, or B, like I own them on Steam. So a whole lot of topics covered today. This will actually be a hell of a lot longer one than I thought, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff there. And, if anything, it might have saved me a couple bucks. So that's it for today. And, this is the random encounter. You never know what you're going to get. Not going to set a public facing goal, but my goal is to have a new video pretty damn consistently and of various lengths. I'm going to try messing with shorts as well. Sometimes it's going to be, hey, like I want to talk about this thing that I've already experienced. This is me experiencing it for the first time. Or, Starlink, like just opening it up and then maybe I get another video later of me actually playing it. And then definitely like as a filmmaker or just like I like the lo-fi type of stuff, like a vibes video. I hope that's not like the most fucking cringy thing to say as a 30-year-old, but truly like, a little bit of like a filter over like just setting up and doing a time lapse of like me playing, Starlink Battle for Atlas with like a Star Trek movie on in the second monitor or something like that. Like I think that's so cool. And even if that's like a 30-second short or a 4-minute music video type thing where I'm shooting at different angles, I want to experiment on this channel. And like I said in the beginning, I don't give a fuck about SEO. I don't even think I'm going to put metadata in here. I want to just be able to put this down, clip the two videos together into one video, and then upload it and call it a day. So I am a graphic designer, so I really like making thumbnails, so I might end up doing that, but I might even end up doing that retroactively. So we'll see. But that's enough yapping for today. Thank you so much. I will catch you in the next one later.